what's interesting about Harimoto, and one of the things that we have to factor in, is that he's in winning form, isn't he? I mean, he's absolutely picking up victory after victory after victory.
And the timing of it couldn't be better for him. Winning in Tunis last week, triple crown champion, was key with the Olympics being so close, and he needed a confidence booster. Harimoto hadn't won an event since the Champions European Summer Series before last week.
The great tennis player Martina Navratilova once said of victory that when you're winning, you sometimes start winning matches that you probably shouldn't win, that you probably wouldn't win, because you just get into the habit of victory. And you wonder that with Harimoto at the moment, if he's entered that wonderful phase where he's just on the crest of a wave, and it makes him X% harder to beat just because he knows how to win.
Well, when he has been in that form, he's beaten everybody before. He was in that mood when he broke through as a cadet. I mean, both of these players, huge threats to the Chinese national team. Harimoto with a 36% win rate against Team China players. Lin Wenru with a 34%, but they've both beaten a Chinese player 19 times. And yeah, that goes to show you the level that they are, the mentality especially that they have.
4-2.
Harimoto at the World Champs taking down Wang Chuqin and Fan Zhendong in Chengdu. Gave Team China a real scare, and you know, Lin Wenru's performance in Frankfurt summing that up as well, beating Wang Chuqin and Ma Long.
Just very persistent striking from Harimoto.
He's so stubborn, Harimoto. He will always stay close to the table. He will not let you be the one up to it and him far back.
3-5.
And Lin Wenru is, for me, the better shot maker. But I think Harimoto's placement change is what makes him so effective. Can Lin Wenru harass the forehand of Harimoto? He's going to have to, because the backhand block is so stable.
4-5.
We look there at the 22-year-old. We should remind ourselves that he is yet to lose a game in this competition. Lin Wenru.
6-4.
Wins against Ma Jinbao, Satyendra Sekaran and Uda Yukiya. The very same Uda Yukiya that Harimoto beat to win the Tunis title.
Oh, look at this here. The ball looks to be on a string. Amazing. That was an impressive run through. Three players of very different styles. Ma Jinbao, a rising player from the United States, who had a fantastic star contender in Lanzhou as well.
That was just wonderful movement of Lin by Harimoto.
Look how simple it is. Baits him into the flick and then just goes to the other side. Harimoto makes it look easy. But he's playing one shot with the next shot in mind. That was the great thing about that combination. Great serve.
7.
Great serve. The bottle challenge action from Lin Wenru. Bottle challenge was a challenge where you serve around the side of the bottle and it curves onto the table down the line. It's basically a challenge that tests players' and fans' ability to use side spin. And Lin Wenru's serve is exemplary in that sense.
7-7.
7 apiece in the opening game. It's everything that we hoped it would be so far, isn't it?
It is. We want it tight, we want it tense.
Oh,
8,
that is
7.
just breathtaking from Harimoto. Wow. When he's starting to put those sorts of points together, he becomes an imposing presence on the other side of the table, doesn't he? The volume,
7,
exactly
9.
that, the huge vocal response he gives to winning a point. It's got to be an unpleasant prospect to face, actually.
Yeah, you know you're in for a real battle when you see your name come up in the draw against Harimoto.
8,
He's
9.
a great ambassador for table tennis, isn't he?
He's exciting.
Yeah. And his celebrations epitomise the importance of winning a single point. I mean, how many times do you see a player lose a game by only 2?
9, 9.
It says it all. And that's going to happen here.
Both of these gentlemen, medalists at the Youth Olympic Games in Buenos Aires, and then medalists at the Olympics in Tokyo.
9, 10.
Lin Yunju has the opening game point. And he has the opening game as well.
To Lin.
And the sort of game, really, Fraser, where one suspects that it was necessary to get that first game point converted because chances are at a premium.
But Harimoto stamped in frustration at the end there because he felt like that was his game to win. In terms of the length of time that he led for, you can understand the reaction there. Lin Wenru again under the radar with strong middle ground, yet to drop a game when he could have easily done there, it seemed. Maybe he's got that mentality right now where he simply just cannot lose.
Time. Second game.
We go into game
Harimoto
number
to serve.
2.
Love all.
The semi-final of the men's singles competition at the WTT Star Contender in Bangkok. Lin and Harimoto giving us a very tight contest so far.
Love 1.
It will be interesting to see Harimoto's response to losing that first game. He was evidently enormously frustrated about it. Sometimes the very worst thing you can do against a player is to take a tight game off them. It raises their own level. Both of these gentlemen have a club in common, a city in common. Lin Yunju having spent a lot of time at Kinoshita Mesta Tokyo, a club that Harimoto has also represented.
As well as TTC Neu-Ulm in the Champions League.
But they are not exactly unknown to each other.
They're very familiar. Seen them actually training with each other before as well at WTTs. It's been so interesting to see the progression of the modern era and the young players that have come up. Because, you know, for 2 or 3 years, it seemed like only these two could be the ones around this age category to challenge the very, very top Chinese players. But now you've got the LeBruns. Now you've got, of course, Matsushima, Tagami, as well as a few others. Morigard, of course, vice world champion. There is a larger group of players now that would call themselves challengers to the throne.
You said to people a decade ago, oh, by the way, Montpellier in France might become the centre of the table tennis world soon. I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Let 1-5.
This is a fantastic response here from Tomokazu Harimoto. 4-point lead. Chop block. And another.
What an interesting point.
Wow. Impressed with the feeling of Harimoto. He's not a player that, when you kind of say the word feeling, creativity comes to mind, but there, showing some nous.
The winner of this meets Lin Gaoyuan or An Jae-hyun. The final. We'll bring you that match very shortly after the next one, which is the women's singles second semi-final.
6-2.
But he's not, I would say, hugely surprisingly, come out really firing, hasn't he, in this second game, Harimoto? And you could see that was coming based on how he walked back actually away from the table after the first game.
6-3.
It's a battle of ice and fire. And Lin Wen-ru is probably, personality-wise, the last kind of player Harimoto wants to play, because he gives you absolutely nothing. Harimoto probably feeds off his opponent getting vocal as well.
3-7.
Can sometimes be one of the most frustrating things, can't it, for an athlete, is when they get absolutely no body language clues from their opponents.
3-8.
But he's responded brilliantly here, Harimoto. Racing through game number 2.
Nine, 3.
Well, he did well there, Harimoto, to say that he was quite ruffled by the serve. Raw power from Harimoto.
7 game points. Unrecognisable, this match, from what we saw in the opening game.
11-3. Game 2, Harimoto.
That's how quick it was. 11-3, Harimoto taking the second. He's levelled the contest.
Looks exciting.
One is mindful of the words of Shakespeare, who, I think it was in Macbeth, who said, "Let grief convert to anger, blunt not the heart, enrage it." Or as we say now, don't get mad, get even. I mean, he was evidently fuming, wasn't he, at the conclusion of that first game, Harimoto? And he's channeled that into such intense and purposeful play.
Yeah, he didn't actually get emotional, which was the key thing. He did when he lost the game, but then it became purely objective.
Third game, Lin to serve. Love all.
game number 3. I hope you're enjoying it so far. We certainly are. Harimoto, Tomokazu and Lin Yunju. And now the challenge, Fraser, for Lin is that we're seeing the dangerous Harimoto, aren't we? We're seeing the one that's really hard to get anything from.
We're seeing the one that is enjoying the process a little bit more now. He's been humbled, Harimoto. He broke through and he was the best thing since sliced bread that anyone had seen for years for his age, you know. Quarter-finalist of the world champs at 14 years old in Dusseldorf. It was just nuts. But then, what happens? He's shaken and stirred. Doesn't get an easy time of things. New players come up, overtake him in the world rankings, such as Lin Wenru, Lebrun. So now... Wow. Oh my God, what a rally there. But now he comes into the match, I think, with less entitlement of I should be winning this and more fight. More kind of thinking, I need to really bring the heat if I want to win this, and that's motivating him.
There's a difference, isn't there, between being a point winner and being a match winner?
Yes.
And between being a match winner and being a title winner.
Indeed.
Four, two.
And for a very big winner there, Lin Wenru with the backhand. Comes right in over it. Very good posture, but just the net tape denying him what probably would have been a winner. Although that block that Harimoto played against Im Jong-hoon to win the game yesterday was one of the highlight points of the day.
4-3.
We've talked about the youth of Harimoto and the early stages of his career, but we also must remember that Lin at one point was the youngest member of his own national team. He was 14 and himself a much talked about prospect. And it's funny, isn't it, because we're now discussing these young gentlemen as though they are almost quasi elder statesmen of the game because they've been around so long. And of course we've got a 21-year-old and a 22-year-old here playing.
Yeah, it's scary, isn't it?
4-5.
On the subject of scary, this response from Harimoto to losing the first is concerning for Lin, but what Lin is doing is at least he's staying tight to Harimoto as best he can on the scoreboard.
Late.
Only takes a few points for everything to transform.
Shovel serve.
6-4.
Going very big on his third balls, isn't he, Lin Wenru? Usually when the games are like this, a little bit more nip and tuck, Lin Wenru ends up coming out on top. So this here feels crucial for Tomokazu Harimoto, because if he does get in front, he's not one to take his foot off the neck of the opponent. Again, this is his game to win now, in his mind, but he's got to learn from the mistake of the one before.
He seems to be. He really seems to be. I mean, that was relentless, wasn't it?
Right off the bounce, transferring all the energy out in front. Not letting the ball come close to the body. Making full use of his body weight through the ball. Exemplary technique from Harimoto. It's a big swing that he's got, like his sister Miwa. But wonderful.
4-9.
And I mean, if anyone's creating a streak right now, it's him.
I recall a matter of seconds ago saying Lin's doing the right thing, he's staying tight to him. It was 5-4 when I said that, and Harimoto's just done what he has done on many occasions. He's won a rapid sequence of points and he has multiple game point opportunities.
10-5.
Long way to go for Lin to get back into this game, though. They'll save the first. 5 remain. Consider yourself Harimoto. 11-3, 11-5. Those last 2 games.
Wow!
Absolutely superb work from Harimoto Tomokazu. He's one away from a place in the final.
Chinese Taipei, give me your voice! Japan, please give me your voice!
Time. Fourth game. Harimoto to serve. Love all.
Well, it seems absolutely crystal clear that Harimoto is on course to wrap this match up quickly. Now it is for Lin Yunju to disprove that.
Love
That's
one.
a good start.
Well, 2 of their meetings have gone to the deciding game before. The last meeting again, just to reference it, 3-1 to Harimoto, so he's looking here to completely repeat that.
It's lovely that we have the sense of musicality in between the points as well. I reference it particularly because we talked about this almost being like a combat sports encounter before the match started, and that orchestration is reminiscent of Muay Thai actually, and how you get the Y crew before the start of the bout. And if you ever attended a Muay Thai competition, you'll know that there's constant musical energy throughout.
1-3.
No, there definitely has been some wonderful sounds and sights here in the Huamak Indoor Stadium. Not least the table tennis action. Had more and more fans coming here. See some fans courtside there. One of them has a Japan jersey on. It was nice being at the Singapore Smash earlier on in the year, and yeah, plenty of different merch available.
3-3.
Certainly worth making the trip over to any WTT event, but if there's one near you, be sure to head over to our website to get involved, because it just changes the way you see the sport when you watch it in person.
It's actually one of those sports table tennis where that's one of the first things that anyone says to you about table tennis, isn't it? You will invariably find somebody say, yes, but have you actually been there and seen it? Because it is true, isn't it? It's unrecognisably fast when you're there in person, especially when you're down at ground level and you can see just how rapidly the ball moves.
Exactly. I mean, I would watch table tennis for 12, 13 years before I'd actually seen it live, and I realised how much I didn't know once I watched it in person.
Well,
timeout has been called by Lin Yunju.
Japan, give me a voice! Chinese Taipei, your voice, please!
Time.
Timeout has been deployed by Lin Yunju. Harimoto leading 4-3 and by 2-1.
3-4.
A place in the final awaits for one of these gentlemen. Just to remind you, we also have the mixed doubles final as well today to accompany our conclusion of the
Left.
singles tournaments.
3-4.
Oh,
Three.
wow, Harimoto. Lin Ru punished for something that he didn't even do wrong.
It's extraordinary, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, Lin Ru, we set up as the better shot maker, but that was
6,
outstanding. And I think over the course of this match, we have learned that Lin Ru has been trying to be the shot maker, but Harimoto has been the better game player. There's a difference. There's a huge difference. And that's why Harimoto is winning points at a better rate here.
Four, 7.
Wonderful.
Yeah, for Lin right now, all he can do is just try to not give Harimoto anything for free. He can't control, can he, how wonderfully Harimoto is playing. All he can do is
Let
try to be at the best possible level he can be
7.
and hope maybe for a drop in Harimoto's level.
Time out.
And that's interesting. Harimoto has decided just to put the brakes on there.
All Lin Ru has to do is win a single point there. Harimoto to say, actually, I took a lot from that, and I didn't like the way I lost that point. I didn't like how comfortable my opponent looked to play the ball. I need to have a little think here.
The dynamic of the conversations between the two players and their coaches, very interesting. Harimoto really just taking a few gulps of water, having a stroll around, just listening to instruction, taking it in. Much the case really for Lin Yunju.
Time. Four, 7.
Lin to serve. Harimoto 4 points away from a place in the final.
8,
Wonderful
4.
handcuffing touch. Playing it into an area that he knows is going to tempt Lin Ru to play his trademark shot, the Chiquita flick, but just a little bit out of that comfort zone. You don't want to play it into the comfort zone of your opponent. You want to play it as far away from it as possible, or just away from it.
9, 4.
It has an unpleasant air of inevitability to it, doesn't it, if you're Lin at the moment? Just seems that Harimoto is unstoppable.
Four, 10.
He's got to match point 10-4. He has a mighty cushion.
Five, 10.
Oh, that would have been some way to finish. Good play from Lin Ru. But this is all but done.
Oh,
10-6.
well, if you are going to go out swinging. Oh, he keeps that low, doesn't he? Still 4 match points for the 21-year-old. Number 3 seed.
10-7.
And Lin is rallying right near the end. Sometimes people play strangely with freedom, don't they, when they're in their last moments of the match.
Oh my word.
Now this is interesting. This is really interesting. We've gone from 10-4 to 10-8.
And he's got the serves now, Lin Winru. The best serves. Wow.
Oh my goodness, what a shot to win it from Harimoto Tomokazu after Lin threatened to launch an unlikely comeback. Harimoto produces a devastating angle at the end to secure a place in the final in Bangkok.
Coming up next, semi-final women's
And he is
singles
going to be mighty tough to beat,
Don't go
Fraser.
anywhere.
And look at the celebration from Harimoto. Holding up 4 fingers. It'd be interesting to find out exactly what that is.